Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have a major patch coming out in Dominions today. It's patch 6.30, and we're going to go through some of the changes. So, the biggest change is, of course, there's a new nation released, Zemaitia. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. It's a late age nation, and it's a bit of a mix between Rus and Ulm. So, with a bit of a moose focus. So, I'll go ahead and pull them up here and we'll take a look at them. But then we're going to go through the rest of the changes here in the remainder of the video. So I'll go through some of them, some of the changes here. So the first thing is let's actually look at it from the national overview screen here. Okay, humans and chuds. The Zemaitian people have partial cold resistance, prefer cold +1. Medium infantry, chud warrior, skin shifter, sylvan knights. They have nature, glamour, earth, some skill in air and fire magic. And then they get the summonable beings of Rus, which of course is a rather cost-efficient lineup. So this is a pretty big boon, basically being able to play Ulm, but with Rusian summons. And then they have a cold limit of +1, magic limit of +1. And primitive forts starts with the Citadel, though. Temples cost 300 in forests. Okay. But labs don't. Now, it's also a nation very much centered around forests. We're not going to do a full national overview here. But you have these guys who can be recruited in the capital, these guys who can be recruited in the capital and non-fort forests. So it has to be unforted. If you fort it, you lose the ability to recruit these guys. So it's a kind of interesting setup, especially since they have a citadel in the capital. And these are pretty solid guys with pretty reliable cross paths. And then they get these guys. I think these are capital only as well. So you have these huge moose sacreds, which have, like, these guys have great MR. The Cav don't have terribly great MR, but they have huge amount of protection and hit points. And then they also have magic power, which is crazy. The moose should have that also. Maybe a bug. But anyway, super cool. They are 2 sacred points apiece to get, but these will be very, very tough with the strong bless. So these in some ways are like the highlights. These guys, they have smith mages sort of like Ulm. So you can certainly imagine these guys thugging really hard with really cheap gear. It's only a smith bonus of 1, so they're no like middle age Ulm, but they're like a late age Ulm in the sense that they get a smith bonus of 1. They also have resource bonuses here too. This obviously is huge. This mage is any fort. So if you're making forts, you can like get this guy in them. But if you want this guy, you have to do it in like non-forts. And then this guy can be recruited in forests. And if it's not blocked if there's forts. So this guy is special because they're like non-fort only, as I've said like 10 times now. And then the troop lineup's kind of interesting. I mentioned this guy's super heavy, like Ulmish armor. They have other guys who have pretty solid. These are like the Ulm kind of like, not black plate steel, but pretty good, like 17 protection. They have this guy who doesn't have great protection. It's basically sort of like the Vanarusian line, but yeah, carrying 2 big weapons. And then they have the Chud skin shifters that I think they turn into, let's actually test. I'm not totally sure. Oops. So we have 2 kinds of skin shifters. Let's see what they do. This guy at the back, make sure he doesn't run in. And we'll see what they turn into. Because, of course, they turn into things upon dying. Wait, whoops. Let me fix my thing right here. Sorry. Okay, here we go. I think these should turn into bear. Yeah, so those guys turn into bear, these guys turn into wolves. So you have basically bear and wolf skin shifters, which is pretty cool. It's a little unfortunate. I don't think it says that in the stats anywhere. It would be nice to have a tag for that. And then you also have, so these guys are stealthy. These guys are stealthy. So you have, these are pretty solid troops. And if we look at it from the national overview, it'll say whether these are cap only, right? So they're going to compete with recruitment for this guy. This guy is also recruitable in non-fort forests, similar to this dude. So non-fort forests are pretty important. These guys can be recruited in forts. These guys can be recruited only in forests. I think only in forests. Yeah. But they're pretty solid. They're basically like pretty good medium infantry, but they also have stealth. So this is a definite full-on elf faction for having pretty good stealth raiding parties. Like this guy's stealthy. These guys are not stealthy, who are like kind of your main workhorse mage. But these guys are, and they have a chance of being nature 2 or glamour 2, and then also these other paths. So you can definitely do like little mage supported raiding parties. So that is some of what's going on here. They have a couple national spells. They have a summon that lets you get this guy, I don't know how to say it. It's like llama, but 6-path mages with 2 holy paths, built-in recuperation. Not really a lot of hit points and stuff, but I'm not quite sure how to use these. This isn't a national overview. I haven't prepared anything. You also get national moose. There's a moose pretender you can get. All around, very interesting, kind of cool nation, kind of a special mix of mechanics that doesn't exist quite like this in really any era, but especially late age. Okay. New ability, Fey Royalty. So we have new Fey. Let me summon some. I'll show you. Okay, so these are the Fey, and you can see there's more Fey units now. So we also have ability Fey Royalty. Additional Fey Folk will arrive when cast Summon Fey Folk. I don't know if this also works on Fey Court, but like this is new. This guy didn't used to exist. Crown and Invisible Clothes. Very funny. And then I shouldn't keep that up too long. Don't know if those pixels will demonetize me. They have a Mesmerize attack on this guy. And I guess it starts with little sprites. So that's like a cool special little summon. They get this guy with a tiny little ram. They get a Snail Rider. So a bunch of cool new Fey units. What's their attack? Brass Instrument. Anyway, very cool. Some of these already existed. Bronze Hayfork. Animal Awe. Anyway, very cool. So that's basically that. That's the Fey Royalty, and there's new Fey units from the patch notes. 2 new Pretenders. We'll actually pull those up here real quick. We'll make a Pretender for Zemaitia. There's 2 new Pretenders. One of them is this, the Great Moose, which has Trample. It's super cheap at only 120. And then sort of normal monster stats. It has a retinue of 1d6 moose at his side. I don't believe they're sacred. And then we have the Ghost Moose, which is ethereal, does not have trample, but has 2 basic attacks and ethereal and glamour. So also kind of cool. Yeah, and stealthy. So very cool. Coming down, can now transfer. This was actually one of my suggestions, and it's always so fun when you suggest something and Illwinter's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, we'll do it. So yeah. Can now transfer gems from the lab to commander via shortcuts in many screens. So this is, in my opinion, a big quality of life upgrade, and we'll look at how to do that. Let me go here to a game. Okay. So the way we do this is we're going to click on our commander. And let's say we wanted to load it up with gems. So if we did Alt, let's say I want to put fire gems on them. Before, I would need to do this, like open up a whole nother menu. Now I can do this. Wait, Alt and F, and add fire gems. If I want to remove gems, I guess I do Alt backspace. And it removes it. It's not type specific, I guess. So that's super helpful. Now, can we do it from this screen? You can do it from this screen as well. So this is a much, much faster way. And if I want to do it to this guy, you have to have it selected. So it's not a pure hover over. You have to have the guy selected. But that's also kind of good. You don't put it on the wrong guy. You do like Alt-A to add some air. So all the gym micro that you've been having to do for your nation, it's going to be super fast now. Like super fast. And I think you all are going to really, really like this quality of life improvement. I'm definitely going to use it. Hopefully you guys will too. I think this is huge. Major time saver. It's going to make scripting complex battles so much faster. You have to get used to it a bit. Probably better to use the right Alt key so that you're on the same side as backspace. Otherwise, you have to like take your hand off the mouse to do Alt backspace. But like, yeah, using... Thing is, I normally use the left Alt key. So, I don't know. Anyway, it's still super cool. And of course, you can still do this anywhere. I think you can also do this. Whoops. I think you can also do this from the army setup screen. So like if you do T, like you're scripting your army here. Let's see how it works here. So you do Alt. Yeah, here it's hover over. You don't have to have the guy click because you obviously can't click it. But yeah. So you can, this is obviously going to be super useful. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy that. It's kind of funny. It just came to me one day. I think it's because I'm working on a game and thinking about like how to do RUI. And it's like you kind of want to like save player time. So it's like, yeah, maybe this would be good for Dominions too. So anyway. Okay, next change. Mounted commanders get +2 map move. I think this is the unit, not all mounted commanders in general, but I could be wrong. Arcane Decree can now completely block Astral Disruption. This is actually something I found as well. Basically, it did in previous versions block portions of it. I think like if somebody else cast Astral Disruption and you had Arcane Decree up, it would do like a check, a reduction against each of the checks against your globals, but it wouldn't block all the effects. Like it wouldn't block the local dispel effects and stuff. So this I think is a really good change. Bringer of Fortune will no longer bring events while under siege. This is a funny thing where if you had like a Firebird farm or something and somebody sieged your fort, they would actually win all of your events. So that doesn't happen anymore. People can't steal your Firebird events, which makes sense. It doesn't make sense that, I don't know, maybe it doesn't make sense. Presumably all the Firebirds are in the fort and that's where the good luck happens. Recruitable units could look like it had cast a global enchantment. I'm not actually sure what that one was. Magic items, lifelong protection, could sometimes incorrectly affect them out too. So that's been fixed. These are like miscellaneous fixes. Message from most important units healed. This is really nice. So when you're healing things like from Gift of Nature's Bounty and stuff, or not Gift of Nature's Bounty, Gift of Health. And then there's a few different ways to heal things, like try to heal afflictions off tarts with like necromancers and stuff. It will let you know which were the most important units that got healed. So super cool. Less chance of accidentally losing a weapon if swapping when there's no lab. I don't actually know how that is. I know they put in mechanics to make that not happen. I'm not sure the use case where it did happen. Presumably, like if you lost an arm or something, I don't know how that worked. But yeah, for those of you who didn't know, let's make some of these guys real quick. Oh wait, no, it's not going to work on them. Let's wish for a Jotun Scrotty. And we will make them a mage. Okay, so this guy, he can change shape. So if I make some items for him that he can't normally wear, oh, I forgot I have to research. And so if we make some items that he can't wear, I'll show you how this works. This is a mechanic that's been in Dominion 6 the whole time. It's new to Dominion 6. But so the werewolf gets full use of forms, but if we change him into a dog, those go away, but he keeps like phantom versions of these. So you can actually, before you can really use it, you had to like do this weird scout micro, but creating the phantom version is super nice. I guess there was some scenario where the weapons would get lost. I have no idea how that was, but it doesn't happen now. So it's really just a basic bug fix. Okay. Print morale bonus for each death magic path and stat detail. So it used to be, I think death gave you fear, but they changed it where it now gives you a morale bonus. So now it just shows that in the unit stats when you click on the detail view. Communion Master with conservative gem use didn't try to cast higher level spells. This was actually a huge bug, a huge, very impactful bug, because a lot of people tend to, by default, put conservative gem use on. If you did that and you had like let's say an Astral 1 mage and a communion, it would block that guy from casting anything but Astral 1 spells once they went off script. On script, they would cast it, but off script, they wouldn't. This was a very impactful, very bad bug, and that's now been fixed. So spellcasters are going to be a lot better. So this is a big reason to maybe if you were frustrated with some nation you were playing, you felt like it wasn't working. And this affects single player too. Like this would be very frustrating in single player if you're doing communions. They're going to act much more intelligently now. Network lobby games with loaded maps didn't take cave layout setting into account. I'm not super familiar with that, but I wonder how many. Put in the comments if you're using lobby games. I guess Envoy does. So Envoy is one of the big kind of Dominions communities. I guess that's probably how most of the lobby games are. But let me know. Are people playing lobby games without Envoy or Envoy? Sleep resistance now partially protects against Dreamlands. I sort of forgot what Dreamlands is. Let me look at it. Okay, so Dreamlands is, I was looking it up. It's not a spell. It's referring to Relay Dreamlands. So, yeah, so wait, whoops. Let's go here. So this is going to protect you partially from the insanity effect of being in Relay and Dreamland. So that's pretty cool. Presumably this is now a passive. I don't know if it always has been. Let's take a look. Let's do Pretender Design real quick and check. It's a glamour path for... Okay, unsleeping. Where are we? Undreaming. All sacred units, right? And that's what it says. If it affects everybody, even if you're not blessed, and that's indeed what it is. So this affects everybody. You don't need to be blessed. So it works also on the global map. So +4 MR versus sleep. So presumably it's also going to make you take less insanity in Relay and Dominion. So this is definitely kind of cool. It's going to potentially be worth a pickup in late age if you've got a late age Relay in your game. Very cool. X shortcut to repeat last bless effect. We're actually going to do that here. This also is going to be, I think, pretty useful. Not nearly as useful as that other thing we were just talking about, but like, let's say you wanted to get a ton of fire, right? So if you pick attack skill and you want more, you just now hit X and it ramps it up. So super useful. And this should be visible here. Yeah, X to add repeat last bless effect. So super useful for doing this quickly, because it is kind of annoying to like go back and pick it again and go back and pick it again. And you just click on it to remove it. So anyway, super fast. Let's see if it works also if we get something else. So if we get defense skill, but then we click on it to remove it, and then we do X, it adds it back. And what if I remove this? It's always going to add the last one you picked. So a little tiny bit janky. You'd expect if you got rid of it, I don't know exactly how you would expect it to use, but if I got rid of this and I got rid of attack skill, I'd kind of expect the attack skill to be added back. Either way, still super useful. Shortcut backspace to remove it again. Okay, so there's also a backspace shortcut. You don't have, but you can also just click it. A single click on something's pretty quick. Valve for Flames could affect flying units outside fort. That's not good. So I think they removed that. Print missile shield. I think Valve for Flames would sometimes work. I think it actually does work outside of fort battles. So you'll have like a line of fire, even though there's no fort walls, but it'd be where the fort wall is. But I guess it worked against flying units. Print missile shield hits in battle log. That's actually really nice because it made it really hard to tell like what your arrows were hitting if you're diving through the combat log. A Sea of Ice no longer hinders usage of Nexus Gate. I think I reported this one as well, but yeah, it used to be you could only use a Nexus Gate because if you think about it, if you're underwater, you're moving from underwater to non-underwater, and Sea of Ice blocks that movement, but it doesn't really make sense because Nexus Gate's a portal, so you're actually moving through a portal. So anyway, this fixes that. So now you can, if Sea of Ice is cast and you're an underwater nation, Nexus is a viable way for you to escape underwater somewhat economically other than just casting teleport and stuff. Okay, Middle-Age Atlantis Reef Warriors couldn't be recruited in coastal forts. That's been fixed. Fixed bug where illusions could dissolve right at the start of battle. Income can no longer be traced through impassable borders. That's stuff like caves. It's also, these will exist on the strategic map for lots of reasons. Black goats with demon riders no longer have morale penalty. Okay, yeah. So black goats with demon riders no longer have morale penalty. That's because the which ones are, I forget which ones are the demons. If it's, we'll take a quick check here. So it's these guys. Yeah, the rider's demon. The goat is not a demon. So this was giving a morale penalty to the goat. So they don't get that anymore. Spell fix regarding chain lightning. I can't remember what it was, but I know the AI didn't really like casting it. So presumably they upped the percentage. I think it basically didn't factor in any chaining. So just like making it factor in that, hey, this actually is sort of like going to hit more than one target would make it get cast a lot more. Ideally, it should also sort of look at chances of friendly fire. I have no idea if it's doing that. Apparently there was a bug with advance and cast in People's Arena that was fixed. I'm not quite sure what that was. Commander reclaim mount order could fail and result in fall damage when old mount disappeared. This was a somewhat important abuse. There was, despite many attempts to stop people from abusing life after death, this was one of the first things that got patched in Dominion 6. People had still found a way, and the way was if you vortexed of returning your whole army out after they had died from life after death. So if you could reliably kill them, they came back as a white, which is far more valuable than the soulless they had been coming back as. You could then vortex of returning them out. So you had to kill them before round 5, which is sort of hard to do, but you can do that pretty easily with Soul Vortex. So you have to kill them before round 5, then vortex of returning the whole army out. And that would give you free white mages, which were upkeep free and had really good, stats and all of that. So anyway, that's been fixed now. I so far as I know, there's no way to life after death stuff. Illwinter has taken away all of your fun toys. This was a mechanic which I think it needed to be toned down, like it was maybe a bit strong, but I don't know. It was a fun mechanic. Like when you did it, you really felt like you were doing magic in real life. Like there's some ways where abusing the game is fun. Probably less fun in multiplayer, where you sort of end up getting compelled to do optimal things, but certainly super fun to do in single player. Okay, True Sight Dark Vision did negate Twilight's Precision Malice. Fix for Cab getting smaller and smaller in the PD box. This was a really funny bug. Yeah, if you had like Horse Tribe or something and you put like PD in, they would like start big and get like really small, like a little curve. Fix for expiring naps and Disciples games. I'm not sure what that was, but presumably it didn't work. Fix for Nation starts preferring to start in Mountain or Highland. I'm not sure all this includes. Hopefully it includes Calum. For whatever reason, Calum was starting in a forest, and they should have been in a mountains or highland. But I think there were a few other nations. I think we gave Illwinter a list in beta of all the nations that should have mountain starts that didn't. So presumably they fixed that. They might not, for whatever reason, maybe they thought Calum should be in that list, though. But I think there were a few, maybe like Yomi, a few others. I can't remember. Spirit form and not ethereal now protects against bleed, frozen, and burning. So this is kind of nice. So now if you have spirit form, you are immune to bleed, frozen, and burning. Because right now this is only a bad tag. There's nothing good that comes from it before this patch, I guess. And it was a very big malice. It means you couldn't take the most important buffs, but now you can. So now you can get really important, or not now you can, but now it does protect against some things. It protects against bleed, unfrozen, and burning. Hopefully these are not major things to protect against. Like it's nice to not be set on fire, but you still are going to die to Firestorm if you're Lemuria. So it would be nice if the Spirit Form maybe got not a direct buff, like Spirit Form blocks things, but if maybe some spells or something could only target Spirit Form. I don't know. Or maybe if like the elemental resistances were twice as effective on Spirit Form units, that could be kind of interesting too. Okay. Illusions could not hurt other illusions. That's now fixed. I guess you could get into like an infinite, never-ending fight with that. Fix for certain globals attacking cave wall provinces. I think I'm not sure what those are. God and Prophets can now never fail a retreat morale roll. Before they didn't really, they had 30 morale. but still on a super high roll they could. So that would kind of suck if you're in a game and you're like, oh, my god retreated, but that's fine because the god will always survive a retreat as long as there's a place they can retreat to. You're like, okay, that's okay. But then if you were like the 1 in 1,000 unlucky where it didn't, it would feel super bad. So I think that's just sort of like bad. That's like bad randomness. I don't think that feels good in a game ever. New Twiceborn shapes, Illithids and White Hags. I kind of want to see that. Let's go to our game real quick and let's see what they look like, because I'm not actually quite sure what they would look like. So we can wish for a star spawn. And we will divine name it. And then we'll empower it. And I'll probably have to empower it again because I'm too lazy to forge a booster, because I'd also have to research. I think this is faster. And then we'll do Twiceborn. And then we will have him attack. And then we should get him back. Very cool. Looks like an undead squid. Super cool. I dig. Of course, Relay lost access to death paths. So this is not something you're going to get easily, unless somehow they got it in late age. But I know in middle age they don't have it. I don't think they have it in late age, because I think it's basically, we'll check real quick. Late age Relay, do they get it? I don't think so, but don't know so. Yeah, they don't get it. So that's cool. Illwinter adding casual white mage forms for nations that don't even have death paths. I love it. Fix for Highland provinces not displaying winter overlay. Network clients can now handle larger turn files. That's super nice. Poison now also reduces precision stat. Interesting. Foul air graphical effect can now be seen in caves and darkness as well. Eager's Tome now grants the Corpse Stitcher ability. This is really cool. This is a way to potentially late game break into tarts. I think we'll have to show you that. So, okay, let's pull up Zemaitia where we can forge things. We'll get Igor's Tomb. I forget what it looks like though. So you have to hang with me for a second. Oh, here we go. That was pretty quick. Okay, so this guy is not a Corpse Stitcher. I put this thing on, which gives Storm Power 5, which is super cool. And it also gives him, this is Corpse Crafter. Oh, Corpse Stitcher. Here we go. So this is a way late game to break into tarts now, since it will mend the afflictions tarts have and make them, we'll do it here real quick. So if you cast a Tartarian Gate, you get a tart. And if we Gift of Reason them, it might have already been healed. Yeah, it's already had its feeble-minded thing healed. So anyway, so that's super cool that you could do that now. I think it's muted still. So we'll actually hit a intern a couple times and see if it hasn't gotten rid of it yet. It's not a guaranteed check every time. Apparently not a guaranteed check at all. Do we have other undead here? We don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's gone. So that's Corpse Stitcher ability at work. It's sort of slow, but it does work. But yeah, you're probably not going to be making like 2 tarts a turn and getting all their afflictions cleared off with 1 item, but you can get a couple tarts. Event fixes, our favorite, stat and typo fixes, and then as always, even more modding commands. I don't know what these all are, but usually very cool. Okay, so that's it. Again, the highlight is a new moose-themed Ulmish Rusian nation called Zemaitia in late age. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.